October 14th, 1873, something terrible happened in the village of Black Hollow, situated somewhere in central Pennsylvania. The local church, an old stone building with a towering steeple, became the site of a horrifying mystery. The events of that fateful night were so terrifying, and explorers were going missing, that the President of the United States in 1990, George H.W. Bush, took an unprecedented step. He officially banned the village, ordering its removal from all maps so that no one could ever find it again. Something so dark had happened there that it was deemed too dangerous for the world to remember. Over 50 parishioners attended a midnight service that night, and none were ever seen again. Only one man remained. Father Thomas Whitaker was found kneeling at the altar, his throat slit, his hands frozen in prayer. No blood stained the floor, as if whatever had killed him had taken more than just his life. Local newspapers, including the Pennsylvania Gazette, reported on the strange event. Yet, not long after, Black Hollow itself faded from history, disappearing from records as if it had never existed. Some believed the church had been built on an ancient pagan site and that the service had awakened something old and hungry. Others say that Father Whitaker had led his followers into a ritual that went wrong. Whatever the truth, the church was abandoned, locked up, and left to decay until the 1950s when Jonas Foster arrived. Jonas hadn't meant to find Black Hollow. An authoritative man named Jonas was going on a hike when his car broke down on a narrow road winding through dense woods. The engine coughed, sputtered, and died just as the last light faded from the sky. The road was too tight for another car to pass. With no other choice, he walked. Up ahead, he saw it. A church, its steeple leaning as if it struggled under an unseen burden. Its stained glass windows were dark, and the heavy wooden doors stood slightly open, inviting him in. Jonas hesitated. Churches meant people, and people meant help, but the air felt thick, wrong. There was no wind, no insects, no sound at all, just silence, too deep, too empty. He stepped inside. The scent of damp wood and decay filled his lungs. Dim candlelight flickered along the stone walls. Rows of wooden benches stretched before him, facing a massive organ at the front. The organ's pipes loomed upward, twisted like broken ribs. Then he saw them. Dozens of figures sat in the pews, heads bowed. They were dressed in black robes, perfectly still, as if waiting. Jonas swallowed hard and stepped closer. Hello. No one moved. His pulse pounded in his ears as he reached out. His fingers touched a shoulder. The fabric collapsed beneath his hand. Empty. A cold breath brushed the back of his neck. Jonas spun around. Nothing. Just the rows of robes, unmoving, untouched. A low hum filled the air. Jonas turned back to the altar. The organ keys were moving, pressing down, one by one. No hands touched them, yet a song began to play. Deep, hollow notes vibrated through the church, shaking the air. The hum became voices. Jonas staggered back. The sound wasn't coming from the organ. It was coming from the robes. A candle flickered and died. Then another. Darkness spread, creeping toward him. The singing grew louder, a chant in a language he didn't know. The robes shifted. Jonas watched, breathless, as the empty robes began to rise. Their hoods turned toward him, though nothing was inside. The air felt heavy, pressing against his chest. He tried to run. The doors slammed shut. The singing swelled, the organ moaning in agony. The robes floated closer, drifting like puppets on invisible strings. Jonas clawed at the door, his hands slick with sweat. It wouldn't budge. Then, silence. The candle flames turned blue. The robes froze midair, empty hoods staring at him. A whisper curled around his ears, soft and cruel. "You're ours now." Jonas's body was seized, his throat burned, his mouth opened against his will, and a sound erupted, deep, unnatural, layered with voices that weren't his. The organ played again. The robes swayed, filling out as if unseen bodies wore them. Jonas collapsed to his knees, his limbs no longer his own. Something slithered under his skin, coiling around his ribs, tightening, squeezing. The whisper came again. "Sing." Jonas screamed, but the sound that came out wasn't human. His voice had merged with the others, a harmony of despair. The church walls trembled, the stained glass cracked, fractures spreading like veins. He understood then. The church needed new voices, and it had chosen him. The music rose to a fever pitch. Jonas's body twisted, his back arching unnaturally. The robes drifted closer, their hoods gaping like open mouths. He tried to crawl away, but the floor clung to him like tar. A shadow moved near the altar. It was tall, taller than any man. Its shape flickered, shifting with the candlelight. It had no face, only emptiness where a head should be. Long, jagged fingers stretched outward, reaching, beckoning. Jonas felt his mind shatter, his name, his past. Everything slipped away. He wasn't Jonas anymore, just another voice in the choir. The organ groaned to a stop. The robes settled back onto the pews, heads bowed once more. Jonas stood among them. He no longer felt fear. He no longer felt anything. He was part of the church now, another hymn waiting to be sung. The next morning, a search party found Jonas's car abandoned on the roadside. The door hung open, the key still in the ignition. There was no sign of him. In 1986, a journalist named Arthur Bell tried to spend the night in the church. His final journal entry spoke of whispers in the walls and a song that never ends. He was found the next morning, his eyes missing, his lips sewn shut with black thread. In 1990, an urban explorer named Richard Galloway recorded strange voices singing Latin hymns inside the church. The next morning, he was discovered at the forest's edge, unable to speak. His mouth hung open in a silent scream. His recorder played only static. But the church wasn't done. In 1998, two teenage boys dared each other to break into Black Hollow Church. Only one made it back. He was found wandering the road at dawn, barefoot and shaking. His hair had turned white overnight. When asked what happened, he just kept whispering the same word over and over: Jonas. In 2015, despite the ban and removal, a paranormal investigation team discovered the existence of this place through Arthur Bell's journal entry, which had been published in old newspapers and articles. They found newspaper clippings containing details about Black Hollow and its address, leading them to the site. They decided to conduct a live stream in the church. Their live stream abruptly cut out at 3:06 a.m. When authorities arrived, they found their equipment untouched, cameras still recording, but the team was gone. Only one thing remained, a single eerie voice humming through the speakers, repeating a song that no one recognized. Travelers passing through Black Hollow sometimes report strange sounds at night, muffled whispers on the wind, rising from the direction of the old church. And if you listen closely, they say, you can hear the faintest trace of a name: Jonas.